homies, it is your boy Law here, and today I'm going to be breaking down my Valorant settings. I figured I got a lot of people asking me over on Twitch and on YouTube in the comment section and TikTok and whatever, so I think a video breaking down my actual in-game settings and how I actually set up Valorant when I get a new computer or something like that to increase my FPS would be something you guys would be more interested in, other than little screenshots and snippets of my settings that I show you really quick on stream. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and break down these settings. All right, so let's go ahead and start right in the video tab. You always want to stay on full screen, and you guys know when it comes to resolutions on Valorant, I typically stay on native. I have tried some other resolutions out, like 1680 by 1050. It just changes the crosshair and makes the HUD a little bit more stretched out. That's the only thing that changing your resolution does in this game, unlike Counter-Strike, where it makes the player models look a little bit fatter. For monitor, you're gonna have your main monitor that you play video games on selected. I don't think this aspect ratio matters all that much, but you're gonna want to turn all of these off. I did try to limit my frames at 500 because I do have kind of a stupid computer that gives me a lot of frames. But when it comes to NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, we're gonna want to turn this on to on plus boost. This will give you the lowest latency in the game that will help you dominate your lobbies. All right, so moving on to the graphics quality tab here. These are the settings that I currently play on. I currently just have multi-thread rendering on, that I play with all the settings off, none, one, or off. This gives me the maximum performance in the game when it comes to frames. And coming from Counter-Strike and games like that, I like to have the most frames available to me. I don't really care about the picture all too much, but if you want to make the picture look a little bit more, maybe bump the anti-aliasing up or this filtering, and that will sharpen up your edges. But some things that I would change if you guys are planning on keeping some of your settings, I would turn this guy off right here, and because this pretty much puts like black edges around your screen like so. And then also I would turn the bloom and the distortion off. It's just, and the casting shadows. It just doesn't really give you anything that will increase your performance when it comes to playing. First, for the stats, I don't typically have anything on. I always put it on hide, but if you do want to see your FPS, you can go ahead and put text only or the graph. It's all personal preference, but this is just what I do. Then when it comes to audio, I do have a mixer for my Shure SM7B. I use the Go XLR. So some of these settings, I just kind of put everything right down the middle. I have these turned off for the video, but I do use stereo, and I do enable the HRTF. I think it helps me hear people and locate them when I can't actually see them a little bit better than when it's off. And it's all personal preference. I've seen people play with it on, with it off, but I prefer with it on. But when it comes to voice chat and things in that sort, these are all my settings for voice chat and the voiceovers. I do have the VoIP duck flavor VO off. I have no idea actually what that is. I think it's just kind of like the person that's yelling bomb down A or bomb down B. I don't really care for that because I can look at my mini map like a normal person and figure out what I need to know if my team's not making comms. Other than that, jumping over to the controls, here are some of my binds that I use. The really only different binds that I use for my utility, I have these two. For the equipment 2 and 3, I have those on the side mouse buttons, and then I use Q and X for my alt, and also whatever ability that is for the agent. You can add new agent profiles over here to the left, so you can switch up your binds depending on who you're playing, which is kind of cool. And the only other things that I have added outside of those binds is crouch. I have a secondary bind for C. Just because sometimes that pinky finger, it gets a little bit funky when I'm doing certain movements. And also jump, I like to do mouse wheel up as a secondary bind to spacebar, so you can go ahead and hop around the map like Foon. Now when it comes to equipment, when it comes to snipers, I use toggle. It just gives me that like Counter-Strike feel from back in the day. I don't really care about the holding thing, but a lot of people are switching to hold. And then I use cycle for the operator. And when it comes down to aiming down sights with rifles, though, I do use hold because it reminds me kind of like Call of Duty when I play on PC and stuff like that. But other things like that, to equip the spike, I have 4. So my primary gun is 1, my secondary is 2, my knife is 3, and when I want to pull the bomb out, it's 4. I also use 4 to plant, and I have a secondary bind for E to plant as well. To inspect my weapon, I use F, and to pick up items, I have E. And I have these turned off right here, the cycle next weapon, because these were on my scroll wheel, and it's kind of bad, especially when I have a secondary bind for scroll wheel to jump. So it would be swapping my weapon when I'm jumping around, so I just have those both turned off. When it comes to the communication tab, all I use to talk to my party, if people don't want to use Discord, I use left alt. But a talking game, I push V. It's an easy key for me to push when I need to communicate with the team. Definitely figure out what is an easy button for you to push if you're new to the computer. But typically V is a very normal bind for voice chat. So that is why I use that in pretty much every single game. When it comes to the interface, I don't think I have anything changed in here. I don't even think I ever been in here, honestly. So these are my settings for that if you care. But jumping over to the general tab, when it comes to enemy colors, I like to play with purple. I feel like it just lets me see people a little bit better. A lot of people like to play with the yellow, but if I'm not using purple, I typically stay red. I just find yellow kind of hard to see people when they get matched up with like the background. But when it comes to mouse sensitivity, I play on 800 DPI for my mouse, and then I play on 0.3 in-game sensitivity, and I have a 1 ADS, so that just means my ADS scope multiplier is exactly the same as when it's not scoped in. But this is just typically what I use. I also convert my sensitivity to every single game that I play. But just find something that works best for you. I use my arm to aim. I put my forearm on the desk and use my whole arm to move around. But there's many different types of aiming styles. You could do wrist, you could do whatever you want. It's all personal preference. But when it comes to the map, my mini map settings are on rotate. And then I have keep player centered on always. My mini map size is 1, and then my zoom is 0.8, and then I do have the mini map vision cones on, and then show map region names always. So the only thing I have turned on in the privacy section is I hide my name from other people that I play for in games, sometimes, especially when it comes to ranked, so I don't have people stream sniping me. And also how I like the look of when I actually kill people, it says me instead of my actual name. Like I said, most of the stuff is all personal preference. I play right-handed, and I have show mature content on, so if you want to see bad words because you're a bad guy, definitely turn that on. To also help you gain a little bit more FPS, turn off the show corpse and the blood. That just adds more stuff to your screen that your computer has to process, so it should help you increase your FPS just a little bit more. But the only thing left in game is the crosshairs that I like to use. This is typically the crosshair that I mostly use. I just use green, outlines on, and then the inner lines 1 2 1 3. Those are what I like to use. Another crosshair I like to use is the SOM CS crosshair, is what I like to call it, because it is inspired from SOM. I like to use the cyan color and then 1 4 2 2 for the inner lines. And I typically just go back and forth from those crosshairs, but I do play with a couple different ones. So like I said, it's all personal preference, but I like the more static crosshairs where they don't really move all that much. So there you have it, guys. So that's pretty much all my in-game settings. So let's go ahead and jump to the desktop. All right, guys, so when we're first setting up the computer to play Valorant, some things that I like to do when we have Valorant installed, I like to right click on it, go to properties, go to compatibility, and make sure disabled full screen optimization is checked, and then go into change high DPI and make sure the override high DPI scaling behavior is checked on, then click OK. All right, so the next thing I like to do is head down here to the search bar and type in graphics settings. It goes ahead and pops right up, and we're going to go ahead and turn on the hardware accelerated GPU scaling. And then we're going to go ahead and click browse, and we're going to go into here. Let me back this up because I already have it done. So we're going to go into our C drive, and then we're going to go to Riot Games. Then we're going to go to Valorant Live, shooter game, binaries, Windows 64. Then just add Valorant Win64 shipping and click add, and then that should add that down here. And then when you have this, click options and click on high performance and then click save. So that will help your game run at a higher priority when it's launched and help your computer put more power towards it and help you increase your frames. So the next thing that we're going to want to do, we're going to right click on our desktop and go to our NVIDIA control panel. If you do have an AMD graphics card, I don't really know what to tell you, but for NVIDIA, typically I use this bottom one and I slide this all the way to performance. And the only thing other than that, I go to the 3D manage settings and I scroll down to the power management mode and prefer maximum performance. So the next thing after that, we're going to go back down to the search bar and type in background apps, and we're going to go ahead and turn all that off because we don't need any of this stuff running in the background while we're playing the game and trying to push all that power to Valorant. Another thing that will help your game run a lot is go over to the search bar once again. And then we're going to go to Windows Update and make sure that our Windows is completely up to date. I actually have to do one here shortly, but I'm not going to do it for the purpose of this video. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is go back to the search again and type in game bar, and this will pop up. We're going to go ahead and turn the Xbox game bar off. We're going to go to captures and turn this off because we're going to use the NVIDIA Experience to make our clips, or OBS, and then we're going to go to game mode and turn this on to help Windows run your game better. So after that, we can go to the bottom right here and right click and click task manager. We're going to go to startup, and we're going to go, and you see all these apps right here. You only have the ones enabled that you actually use. So like Cortana, all you got to do is right click and click disable. So I use my GoXLR every single day. This is the Gyazo thing that I use to take screenshots. And then update the GitHub. This is the GoXLR. This is very important. Don't turn this off. This is the anti-cheat for Valorant. And then the Windows security stuff, you want to have that on as well. But all the other stuff like Skype, Steam, Epic Games, Battle.net, or whatever you have, just make sure all those are disabled so they're not running and starting up on your computer as soon as you turn it on every single day. So you don't have to worry about them eating up any of your performance in the background. All right, so the last and only thing, if you're going to want to make clips while you're playing in game, like I said, if you have a NVIDIA graphics card, we're going to go to our NVIDIA Experience. We're going to go ahead and click this little triangle to open our in-game thing. We're going to go right here to settings, and some things that I like to have turned on. I like to go into the video capture right here. Make sure this is set to high resolution in game, and then the frame rate 60 FPS. I have this on the 50 for the bit rate, and then I have this slider turned down to 2 minutes because that's the average length of a Valorant round. Then the only thing that I have different is for the highlights. I go here and figure out whatever file, wherever you want your clips to be saved to, so you can find them later. And then the only thing that I have different, like I said, is the shortcuts, and this is going to be different for everybody. Go right down here to record, and it says save the last 2 minutes. This will change depending on how long you have that one slider moved to. And right here you can change this box right here to whatever key or keys that you want to push every time that you hit a clip. So I like to use the alt and the period. So when I push those two keys together, it goes ahead and makes that clip for me that I can go back to later to make some videos like the highlight videos I have here on the channel. And then the only thing you're going to want to do is back out of that and go to instant replay and turn that on, and then you guys should be good to go. So there you have it, homies. I hope it helped, especially breaking down my settings, and hopefully it helps you gain a little bit more FPS in the game. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you all later. Peace, homies.